Well, first of all, I would like to thank you, GBB, for the invitation. I think it's an incredible summit. I can see old faces in the crowd, but I can also see new faces. So hopefully in the next 2 days, we can get to know each other and have discussions about the future of hospitality. Now, I only have 10 minutes, and for those who know me, 10 minutes is not enough. So I'll try to push the narrative of what I'm trying to suggest in terms of agitation, if you will, rock the boat a little bit in terms of what is the future of hospitality. And just like the last presentation discussed about understanding the past in order to look at the future, I will go through it very quickly in terms of how I see hospitality history has been developing and how we find ourselves in a very interesting moment in time. Before that, I have to do the usual when it comes about my own firm. I'm a principal with Woods Bagot. We have a design ethos, which is putting human-centric approach in all the design journeys that we do, and we call it people architecture. We have been around for almost 155 years. Mr. Woods and Mr. Bagot started it in Australia, and maybe as a difference from other global studios, we started it in the East, and then we moved to the West. We have been in the Middle East for almost 17 years, and in KSA, our first project was back in 2016. Now, in terms of who we are, well, I thought it could be interesting just to show you a snap of key hotels that we have been doing lately, starting with the Intercontinental Hotel in Sydney, which was an old structure where we decided to introduce a new structure into it and create a really sense of place within the city of Sydney. Manhattan in New York, the Londoner in London, in the West End. It has around 5 stories underground of program. And when you are there, you never realize that you are actually underground. So that's a very interesting approach that we had to do to follow planning regulations. 25 hours here in Dubai. For those who are not living in Dubai, I will encourage you to go to that hotel. I think Alex and Mina, the key design leaders, are here. But this is about a story of a traveler, a nomad, who brings his own story every time that he comes to visit the hotel. So I encourage you to visit it. And obviously, some hospitalities that we have in other parts of the world. We work with, obviously, most of the developers and the operators in town. But I think we understand this kind of a narrative between the brand understanding and the vision of the operator. And what we do is try to bring those challenges together and become really the secret sauce to create an interesting hotel and destination. As I mentioned, that position about understanding the end user and understanding the process is what I think is where we can create magic. Obviously, sustainability is one of the main challenges in our times, and we take this very seriously. And our experience is combining the sector offering from hotels, hospitality, wellness, residential, retail, and workplace. Now, in terms of taking this forward, considering the approach of a designer, in this case from the hospitality sector, I believe the narrative is becoming quite important, and I'll tell you the reasons why in a minute. In order to position this and discuss where we have been and where we are going, I thought it could be interesting to just show you a kind of a chronological position of where hospitality and the offer of allowing someone to stay for a while with you has gone through. Obviously through the courtyards and the baths positioning that the Romans back 2,000 years ago started to offer for people traveling around the empire, from the kind of a hospitium, which is from the Latin word hospedale, which is the guest, that moved into monasteries. That was places where people traveling around Europe will stay and enjoy a night of a warm position. Obviously, this created inns in medieval Europe, where they were offering proper food and proper places to drink and create these connections with travelers. And obviously, in this part of the region, the Bedouin tribes that were offering this incredible hospitality to people moving around from one place to the other. But it was during all this time that these places were a necessity as part of the journey, rather than somewhere to make a journey to. And I think that changed it back in the 18 and 1900s, and I don't think the hospitality offer back in those centuries has changed that much up to our days. But everybody understands and knows that a proper iconic design of a hotel can take a city back to the global map, just like happened in Dubai in the 1999, I think, in 2000. You see this iconic design and you know that it is Dubai, just like in Singapore with this type of projects. You connect the city with the iconic position and a beautiful design, which happens to be a hotel. So to me, hotels are gateways to cities. There are places that define movement because you are moving from one place to the other when you come to a hotel. So those encounters are really important when it comes about the positioning of innovation. I don't know if you know much about John Soane, but he was an incredible, important architect, British architect in the early 1900s, and he won a medal to do the grand tourism around Europe, and that's where he met Piranesi. And it was because of that movement and touring that these inns and hotels along Europe allow people like this architect to meet with other architects. And perhaps without that, John Soane would have never brought these incredible paintings that Piranesi did. Perhaps he would have not influenced his own way of designing, and perhaps we wouldn't even have the British phone booth that John Soane designed. And this is coming from that interaction that happens when you are traveling. You all know the story of Gucci, my fellow countryman. He went from Tuscany to live in London, and he was working in the Savoy Hotel. He was working as a baggage porter. And this hotel was one of the first ones, I think, who introduced the technology of a lift. But it will take a couple of minutes to go from one story to the other. So this was a perfect time for Gucci to interact with rich individuals. He will understand how they dress, what are their combinations, what are they looking for. And this was the baseline for him to create this empire that we all know as Gucci. And this happened in a hotel. So, based on that quick positioning, a view to the future for me, considering where we are at the moment, having the biggest disruption of all times, which is artificial intelligence. I would like to have a little go with you, and I know I have only 1 minute left, but let's all imagine that you are my client and you want to commission a hotel to me. Right now, I can work with Midjourney and say, let's create a hotel building in the desert. And let's make it something with Zaha Hadid style, Mies van der Rohe, and maybe, let's say, Frank Lloyd Wright, right? Right now, AI can take from all the internet images from all these architects, and he can come up with a design that will show, in a way, the design ethos of these three architects, but it will not follow the design process. It will just take the look and feel of these architects, and it will come up with a design for you. This is happening now, and as a result, we have something like this, right? Imagine in the next 50 years from now, what AI will be doing, and most importantly, what I will be doing, because I am impaired in here. Now, I don't know if you have seen this. It came out in, I think, in the last week. This is all AI. This is not a real person. This is not a real settings. These are not real people. But now you can actually opt in to the app and put your own voice and create your own narrative, and this model will tell the story for you. So this disruption is coming to us and is staying. So what is it that we will do with it? So for me, the future of hospitality is about holding the narrative. There's this book by Harari who talks about humans. And there's a section that talks about how humans are the only species that can tell stories. Nobody in the natural world, no other species can tell stories than humans. Monkeys can lie, but they cannot tell stories. Monkeys can tell their partners that there are bananas behind the trees, but then they will be lying. This has been recorded and researched. So the narrative and the storytelling and the power of storytelling, in my opinion, as we move into the future, will be even more important when it comes about creating great hotels. And that tells me to finalize, and I don't have any minutes left, about the project that we have been working with NEOM for the last 3 years. I'm not allowed to tell you much than what has been published, because we're still evolving, but the story in here was about an old civilization that designed and built this hotel, and then through time, through decades, things started to fall over. And then nature took over, and us, as developers and investors, decided to invest and create a 7-star hotel with 65 key rooms and 35 branded residences. Is there noise on this?
Sorry?
We should be listening to the music.
Audio, please start it over.
NEOM is creating a moment in our history. It's forcing us to unlearn everything and push us somewhere where we've never been before and redefine what we do in the future.
We imagine that thousands of years ago, an old civilization built this incredible masterpiece. And through time, nature took over. And then we found it and we create a luxury hotel, which creates that sense of nostalgia. We mix drama, mystery, tranquility, and romance, where you can see the sea from one side, you can see the mountains from the other.
When you arrive, there is a euphoric state of disbelief. You'll be in this position to experience one of the finest hotels in the world. We imagine the future persona of the hotel guests. What are they looking for? Currently, the presence of the digital consciousness has really stolen everyone's focus. Sirana will release you from that and profoundly shift you into the physical beyond any imagination that you've ever experienced.
Sirana is offering the traveler a way to disconnect from society and to connect with nature. Whether you take a horse for a ride, or you find yourself stargazing in the Wadi to feel that emotion of connection with nature. At the beach club, the swimming pools, the terraces are all designed to make you feel profound wonder.
Sirana will redefine all of our notions of what tourism is, what hotel experience is. You'd be one of the few people in the world that has had the privilege of being part of something quite extraordinary. That's what Sirana aims to achieve. Raise the level of our expectations, allowing you to see the world through a different lens.
Thank you so much.